observe the retirement ceremony first.
I'd like to call the Superintendent's Information Committee of June 1st to order at 7:04. We'll start Pledge Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Mr. Lega, could you take roll call for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Mrs. Issing.
Here?
Mr. Kachasik. Here. Dr. Koshko is on vacation. Mr. Leonard is on vacation. Mr. Knoll.
Here.
Mr. Neiman.
Here.
Mr. Petrucci.
Here.
Mr. Stovar.
Here.
Dr. Trey. Here. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lega. Dr. Harris, I'd like to turn it over to you right now.
Yes, we're actually going to start with the retirement ceremony at the beginning of the meeting instead of towards the middle, because I promised Dennis today, if he comes, I will have him out to start his first night of bowling. And bowling takes precedent tonight over everything. And after Dennis, how many years have you worked here?
30.
30, so I said I could do something in return for Dennis, as well as all the other people who retired. He might not want to sit through most of the stuff we have on the meeting agenda. So I do appreciate everyone coming, especially Dennis. We do have, George is going to have a press opportunity for us, and Scott's going to read some different things from each person who retires, but I promised Dennis he can go first. And you never actually sent me here.
I dropped it off today.
Oh, you dropped it off today. Okay, I was out of the office most of the afternoon.
I gave it to Danielle.
All right, how many years have you worked? You said 30 years? And you started in which buildings?
High school.
High school, and then you ended up spending your last couple of years at Harrison Park?
Harrison Park Elementary.
Which one did you enjoy better?
They both had their goods and bad points.
I know the elementary kids just loved you at Harrison Park. They all called you, and they very affectionately always enjoyed you being there, and they always loved when you went out with the flag and tried to help. They always followed you, and that was like the highlights of their day. So you really made a difference, all the kids that you serviced.
He did a great job at the high school too. You were there, I think, the whole time I was there. Most of it, the whole time. You were there.
Yeah, when I started here, Mr. Peduzzi was principal.
Oh, yes, you were here.
We went through a few principals.
Just there's so many transfers. I knew you were there for a long time, but Denny did a great job for me for many years, and you know, you never had to tell him twice. Took care of his areas, and things were clean, and like I said, took care of business, and staff I know really enjoyed you, and we appreciate everything you've done over the years. So thanks for everything.
And then we also have something for each person who retires, and I kind of took Dan's out of the box. I can show someone, so I don't think Dan's coming, so sorry if not. But it's, it says Penn Trafford School District. In this case, this is Janice Perkins. So we always want you to have some things to remember us by. And yes, there is a hand on it that attaches. And it's kind of funny because now we give you a clock, but you don't have to really worry about time.
I was going to say, we don't need it.
Yeah. But then also, each person, because we are going to have a cake tonight, we wanted you to have a piece of cake for yourself, but you're not supposed to eat it tonight. You're supposed to take it home and freeze. On the very first day of school next year, you need to get it out, and while the rest of us are going to work, you need to have a piece and laugh. So this is a bigger piece of cake to take home.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you going to stay for the picture, or are you going bowling?
I'll stay for the picture.
You stay for the picture? All right, then we have more names to read, but thank you. All right, Scott, do you want to?
All right, Bob, you're first, so you can stand up, please. We got Bob Abrahams. Bob earned his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in music, teacher certification, and Master's of Fine Arts degree in music education from Carnegie Mellon University. He started his teaching career in the fall of 1975 in the Catholic schools in Allegheny County. He subbed in various districts over a 25-year span and established a very successful private teaching practice. For many years, he taught music lessons as part of Penn Trafford's after-school program, was hired full-time at Penn Trafford in 2003. Bob said he wanted to become a music band teacher ever since the 8th grade, when my 8th grade band teacher gave me a clarinet solo in the spring concert. That's what sparked him. He said his best moment in his career was when he was hired to be the instrumental music teacher at Trafford Middle School, giving him the opportunity to pursue his lifelong ambition of teaching instrumental music. Congratulations, Bob. Thank you.
one thing about Bob. One thing, I don't know if you remember my daughter. You were subbing for Mr. LaBarbara. She was in, you remember my daughter?
No, but...
You said to me, you took me aside and you said, get her lessons, she needs to be in music. And now she's 30 years old, teaching music. At the middle school. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I'll never forget you taking me aside and telling me that.
Somebody finally listened to me. I've had so many good students here. And I always try, I tried the best, give them the best advice to every single one, listen to every single note, and to give them, it's just who I am.
Well, you were a sub, so it doesn't surprise me you don't remember me, her.
I was here so many years, I was kind of, it came up part of the wallpaper, I guess. Okay, thank you.
But you will be missed, and up to the very end, we had so many events at track for the last month of school. He attended every one and made sure the stage was up and running, all the lights, all the work, and we really do appreciate that because you took it serious to the very end.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Enjoy your walk. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Karen Andrews. There she is. Karen earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in Special Education, her Master's of Education in Reading and Language Arts and Reading Specialist from Duquesne University. She earned her Master's of Education in Elementary Education from California University. She began teaching in 1974 and worked at the Allegheny IU, Hempfield, the Westmoreland IU, and at Penn Trafford. One of the reasons Karen became a teacher was that she had the desire to work with children her entire life. She also had many teachers in her family, and her great uncle played an integral role in the beginning of Clarion University. She was drawn to special education in the beginning and continued to expand her experiences to include many areas of education. Karen said her best moment in her career was when her daughter decided to follow in her footsteps. So that must have made a good impression on her. And you're a Clarion alum like Dr. Harris and I, so that's good. Congratulations, Karen.
Karen, principal down on level grade. Karen would have fun every single day. The lady can laugh. She always was up for a good time. Her love of learning also was contagious to the students. They always had a nice time in her classroom, and they always appreciated everything you did.
Thank you.
And even up to like 2 years ago, you was the track coach, or 3 years?
I was cross-country coach.
Cross-country coach?
Yeah, I started the program.
You started the program. How many years were you?
I was there 6 years,
6 years.
and then I gave it over to someone else.
Yes.
But I
Karen
still
and I
like it.
both ran a 5K together last year, and I believe she left me in the dust. But she said, oh, honey, I have more practice. So she was very nice about it. And the last, when we did our foundation, she danced both years as a group number. So we
It's a lot
appreciate
of
you
fun.
raising money for us. So thank you. and
Thank you very
for doing
much.
this.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Joanne Gates. Joanne's up. Joanne has a BA in French. I didn't know you had the French part of your degree. We were, we could have used a French teacher at high school a long time ago. We kept that a secret. But anyway, a BA in French and an MAT in elementary ed, both from the University of Pittsburgh, and started teaching in 1972. She first taught first grade in the Allegheny School District and third grade in the Moon Area School District, and has been teaching at Penn Trafford since 1992. She became a teacher because of teachers who had impacted her while she was going through school. She cannot say the best moment because there's been so many. She adds, teaching is the best job in the world. Congratulations, Joanne.
Thank you.
Joanne, she was my only one who attended the last 3 years, every single one of my technology training sessions I offered for the summer. No matter what I had for iPads or anything, she attended all of them, and she was my only one who did it every single year, so I appreciate that. And the last day of school, about an hour before school was out, most classrooms, you can imagine the last day of school were pretty lax about that time. I went in to say goodbye to Joanne. She was doing a social studies lesson. The kids were taking notes, they were working, interacting together. She was using technology, and she said, I went to say goodbye. She kind of just waved and said, I'm busy, I have one more lesson to do. So, up to the very end. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good luck in the
Thanks for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. Enjoy that the first day of school.
It's like getting married again.
Next, we have Barb Kuntz. Barb received her degree in biology from California University of Pennsylvania. She began teaching in Penn Trafford in 1991. She became a teacher because I always liked working with kids and had kids of my own that I liked working with as well. So the hours worked well for her, and her best moment was she received the Pride Award. And I had the opportunity to work side by side with Barb for many years. I was her, I taught next to her, and I have a lot of stories that I could tell, but it wouldn't be appropriate to say. I got to know Barb very well, both professionally and personally, and I enjoy her. I just love being around her. She's a great teacher, great person, and she'll do anything for you. And we're going to miss her. She helped out with NHS and senior class sponsor for helping out with graduation and all that, and she was just invaluable to help me out with that. So appreciate everything she did over the years.
And actually, she's staying on as one more year senior class sponsor?
Well, at least one.
At least one more year?
Maybe a few.
She said she couldn't see this class go because she's helped them all along, that she said it would be too hard for her to say complete goodbye. So I really appreciate that you thought of them, the kids, and you wanted to stay on. Plus, you've taken how many trips since you've been here?
Oh, I think about 17.
17? What's the most exotic place you ever went to?
Oh, probably Fiji, Australia, New Zealand.
Okay.
So every year, and our kids appreciate it because there was an opportunity for all of them. And you did it, and the cost was unbelievable. How the cost that the kids had to pay was so low that I don't think no one can ever afford that, but you always need someone who's willing to do it, and that was Barb. And the kids always had an amazing time, so I appreciate that. Congratulations, I'm gonna miss you.
I don't see Jan. Is she here?
She said no, but she was unable to make it tonight.
I'll recognize her anyway, huh? I should.
Yeah.
I have to. Jan Perkins, she was an FCS teacher at the high school. Jan received her Bachelor's of Science degree in Home Economics, which is now known as FCS, Family Consumer Science, from Indiana University in 1976. She started teaching at Hempfield in 1979 in the middle and high school for 2 years. She raised her children, returned to school, returned to teaching full-time in 1995 in sabbatical positions in Jeanette and Mount Pleasant. She spent 2 years at Woodland Hills before coming to Penn Trafford in 1999. She became a teacher because of the teacher she had when she was a student at West Hempfield Junior High and High School, who created a classroom atmosphere that was calm and conducive to developing the creative side of any student. During her teaching career, she has experienced numerous happy, funny, embarrassing, disappointing, touching, surprising moments. But during many of those times, she was proud of her students and their accomplishments. She said, "It is because of these times that my teaching journey has left me very satisfied and ready to begin a new stage of life." So Jan, she actually left us mid-year in January, so we kind of did our farewell to her in January. We're doing it again, but she was a great teacher, a great person, just a great friend of mine too, and we're going to miss her. She made a difference here, that's for sure. So I have a great class of people leaving the high school, and I know I'm going to miss them personally. And the next one.
I know when we did the numbers, and I can't remember how many years, I did add them up. I don't know, and I read it the night you announced your retirement. I couldn't remember consecutively how many years you had together. Because we have, I think it was over 300. So. I bet Georgia remembers. She remembers everything. You wrote the story. You have an outstanding memory, Georgia.
Next we have Chris Stays. Chris is a 1987 graduate of Slippery Rock and has dual certification in special education and elementary education. In addition, she received her secondary English certification. She began her teaching career in 1987 at East Liberty at the Craig House Technoma. I think that's how you say it. From there, she taught in Roane County schools in Roane County, West Virginia. In 1998, she moved back to Pennsylvania and spent that first year substituting at the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf. She began teaching at Penn Trafford in 1999. She said she became a teacher because I wanted to motivate struggling students to love learning and be the best they could be. When asked for a best moment in her career, she responded, "After 28 years of teaching such amazing kids, I can't possibly choose the best moment in my career. I have been blessed to be in a job where each year brings best moments." Chris, she actually taught right where she's standing right now.
I
No,
did.
it's actually- This was her room.
It looks a little different now.
Yeah, but we had renamed a room from Mrs. Day. She bought a room down in the other area where her new room would have been, or is now, but it's going to be named after her. She donated that to the school, so we appreciate that. But Chris worked with some of our very challenging kids and did a great job with them. And over the years, she kept so many problems off my desk, and she would just have these issues with some of these kids, and she'd talk to them and work them out, and they never made it across the hall, which I always appreciated. And one of the things I always told her, and she knows this, is, you know, the kids just really responded to her and loved her and respected her because she cared about each and every one of those kids, and it really showed in everything that she did. And definitely, that was her best asset, is her amount that she cared about each kid. So you did a great job, Chris, so thanks for everything.
Thank you.
And her daughter is becoming a teacher too. And at her retirement party, she said she was passing down the teaching stick to her daughter.
Yes.
Things you can't learn in school, which Chris has. Care about the children and believe all students can learn. And that's something you can never learn in college, but that is something that she does. So make sure you pass that down, which I'm sure you have because I've seen now.
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much,
Oh,
man.
thank you. And enjoy your clock. And I know you're moving.
I'm moving tomorrow morning.
There's one more
Tomorrow
thing that
morning.
you're gonna have.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I also should mention Chris is retiring, but she's taking an early retirement too as well.
Not that early.
Connie Vaskov. Connie taught art, ceramics specifically at the high school for, I don't know, how many years? 20 years? 22 years. Connie earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in art education from Edinburgh University in 1975. She began her career at the Diocese of Pittsburgh, teaching 9 years at St. Maurice in Forest Hills and 9 years at St. James in Wilkinsburg. She was hired at Penn Trafford in August of 1993. She said she always knew she wanted to teach. Her mother taught her oil and china painting lessons at home when she was growing up and was a huge role model for her. She said it was just in my blood. Regarding the best moment of her career, she said, hands down, the best moment was coming to Penn Trafford School District. It gave me the opportunity to teach what I loved every day in a wonderful studio setting, the great co-workers, and awesome students. She's thankful to Penn Trafford for continuing the values of arts and valuing the work they do as educators. So, you know, Connie's a pillar of this high school, and she just, you know, she was the center of everything. She coordinated and organized all the events we ever had up here, and everybody always respected Connie and loved her. She's always, what I liked about her best, she's always so positive. I mean, it'd be the worst day on earth, and everything's going down, and she would just come in, and she just, sunshine would come on. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay. She put a positive spin on everything, and it was always good to have that. And the kids, you know, her classroom, when you walked in there, the kids just love to go in that room. It's a place for them to express themselves, to release their anxiety of, you know, the math and the science. They go in there and just do their thing. And kids did great work, and she did a great job of developing that program and having it the way it is. For a school to have a full schedule, 6 classes of ceramics, speaks to you for sure. So, Connie did a great job. We're going to miss you.
I'd like to add something if I can. I wasn't on board then. And Dr. Morasti, who was a friend of yours, okay, and he presented to the board, he says that this one will make your art program take off. And a few of the young board members do now, they say, why do we have so many art teachers? And I says, one person responsibility. I says, we just kept on hiring teachers to please the demand of the number of kids that want to be enrolled in your program. And I think this is maybe in the whole county, this may be the #1 high school art program because of the enrollment figures, and you are definitely the cornerstone of all that.
Thank you.
You did a great job. You lived up to Dr. Morasti's words.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
And Connie would be greatly missed from her students. And she has me plugged into her ceramics online class, and those kids just loved you. And one time I went up and I just stayed in her class for 40 minutes to do a lesson. It is the most therapeutic, relaxing place to ever be. Like when you're very stressed, if you would just go up and sit in Connie's class and she would give you a piece of clay and just say, start doing something with it, it was unbelievably calm, and I owe that all to Connie. She's amazing, and because of her, I will have paintings or pictures on my office, because the last 2 years I just didn't want to put up anything on the wall, because you never know with this job. But Connie came down and she said, no, you have to have something. So she actually took my frames and matted it for me, and she actually took everything up, and it's all lined up. I just have to get it hung now. So, but she has it all, and she says, don't let anyone move it. Final steps. I'll think of Connie every time I look at my office. So hopefully for a long time. Oh, thank you. Enjoy this.
Thank you.
Okay, the last one is Patty. I didn't see her. She's not back here anywhere, right?
She's not here.
Okay. We also have Patty Venturella, who's a retiring special education teacher at the high school. Patty received her Bachelor of Education degree in Special Education, K-12, from the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. She began her teaching career at Westmoreland IU as an itinerant at PT, Jeanette, Franklin, and Kiski. She taught at Fairfax County High School in Fairfax, Virginia, before coming to Penn Trafford in 1995. She said she always had a love for children, always wanted to be a teacher. She felt it took a special person to teach special education and believed she had what it would take. Her best moment was when she would be working with students and see the aha moment when they understood the concept, received the great grade, and succeeded at a task. So we're going to miss Patty. She was somebody who always went to bat for her kids, always advocated for her kids. You know, if there's an IEP issue or she thought the kid wasn't getting a fair shake in the class, or we could support that kid more, but not excessively, or hand things out, she would always go to bat for that kid and try to help him out the best she could. She'd come to my office and speak her mind in a respectful way, and we try to work it out. So I always respected her for that. And she was also the union rep. And what I liked about her, when there was an issue relative to the union, she'd come into my office too. And she'd play both sides of it. And she wouldn't support bad behavior, but she would, when things were the way they were, she defended it when she had to. So I always respected her for that as well. So Patty's a good person, and we'll certainly miss her, and wish all of the retirees best wishes, and hope you do well and come back and visit us. I know you won't, because most people don't. So we have the invitations there.
But we do need a photo before you go. We have our photo, and then we're going to have some cake. And then
Matt, can I say something first?
Yes.
Okay. This is direct to everybody out there, because I look at all of you, and we've had a working relationship, chain of command, personal relationship, all of us at one stage or another. There's 8 of you going out. Yul Brenner wouldn't mind if I called you the Magnificent 8. You're fantastic. And Super Dennis. Dennis and I go back in another unique capacity. He's a very open guy and talks about things, and we've gone up and down through issues over the years, and he's always there, no matter what happens, whether we agree or disagree. And you guys, I could say all in all, the only regret I have if you're leaving is that my daughter did not have exposure to all of you in some time in her educational career. You're top notch in my world. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis.
And this time we can have the retirees. George, you like it over here now? The photos? Please come over. And there's Robin going to start cutting the cake.
All right, special reports, item number 7. Does anybody take up from Mr. Leonard?
He didn't send anything in.
Okay, we'll move on. Libraries, Legislative Council, Dr. Trey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing related to libraries as far as legislative area. There's not much more to say about the budget this time. There's obviously some showdowns on some of the priorities related to passing the budget. And as we discussed the previous month, the priorities that we thought would occur have been voted on accordingly, and the governor's got to decide ultimately whether he's going to veto some things as they negotiate flexibility on other issues. So I'm not going to list anything specific. It's still too early, but the days are counting down for the budget, so a lot will start happening fairly soon. Maybe we'll have a better report next week. I don't think so. They'll probably bypass that until August. But in any case, I do want to mention one thing that's come out. And we were notified about Quakertown School District. I don't know if any of you are aware of that, but the school board there voted to not pay the retirement portion of for their teachers for this past month. They approved it, And our PSBA just sent a letter to them advising them that was an act of civil disobedience. And it's not something we've ever discussed or ever brought up, but it's been certainly mumbled around. If you've ever been to any of the conventions and we all get frustrated about issues, those types of things come to the forefront. But so PSB took a stand on this. They did send advice to them and said basically based on the Pennsylvania Retirement Code 24 Pennsylvania CA 8101 that has to be done. It would be a violation of the law. If you do that, it would be considered to be civil disobedience. On top of that, we anticipate the school district would be faced with costly litigation, and the board members themselves would be prone or to be removed from office. Dismissed from office. And also that because of that, any insuring agency related to any personal liabilities related to school board members would also be probably revoked, so that you'd be on your own as a board member with no protection by the school board. But the bottom line is basically they're going to take the money out of whatever money you have anyway, so why make a stand? So Quakertown is reconsidering it as we speak. And the other thing is we passed out every year about this time the state of Pennsylvania does not release the enrollment analysis that's normally done based upon the first day of October. So what I do is I go through and assess the information every year. You got a copy of it about half an hour ago. We did look through that. And obviously, our colleagues have looked at this type of thing, and it's based upon the county breakdown. And since we base it on the peak years, which are 2002 to 2003, at that time, there were 55,955 students in the county. As we speak right now, as based on October 1st of 2014, which is official, we're down 8,440 students, which is a decline of 15.1%. As we pair, as you can see in here, all of us are based upon a percentage. Penn Trafford, we have lost in that same period of time a student population of 17.7%. The average, again, for the county is 15.1%. I think among us, we kind of look at that figure as a quad A school. How does this relate to performance and so on? I don't know. We can't really say, but all I can tell you with is our top competitors, we listen to the big picture with athletics, with academics, extracurricular, with all the performance measures that are extensive throughout the state and well diversified. All that, our top competitors in the county are losing a population rate of roughly about 8%. We're almost double that. Is that going to impact on us long term? I don't know. We know that's affecting what we have to do with buildings in the future and staff, but it's keeping us prepared, keeping us knowledgeable, and we've been through our 12th straight year of declining enrollment. We've got a lot of decisions to make.
Do we know why we are declining at a higher rate than some other school districts? I mean, obviously, there's school districts here that are much higher than ours, but also there are school districts a lot lower. Why are we above the average in population loss? Any speculation?
Well, it's one thing, what we try to draw it from was the data they use when they do an estimate. There's a analysis the state puts out periodically, which isn't a very good instrument, to where we should be in population. They throw out criteria about the demographic changes in your area and about the building programs and a whole number of other things. It's really fluidy information. It's not very reliable, and consequently, that's why they're way off. You can't rely on the estimates from the state of Pennsylvania. They're not very conclusive. They don't rely on good data. So basically, answering Tony's question, it seems to be something more practical. In our community alone, I think we could probably summarize it. And my colleagues, we can disagree in whatever way it's possible. But we don't have as many kids in families anymore. It's just not the case. We don't have it. Also, we have a very contented community. We have very low taxes compared to everybody else. We're a safe community. We just received a national award because of
28 safest.
28 safest in the United States.
You would think that would make ours go up.
Well,
not down.
that's okay. It's keeping our older population.
Yeah, a lot of our residents don't have children anymore, but they're still staying. They're not ready to move, but they're not ready to.
And remember the figure: we have almost 80% of our taxpayers do not have kids in the school system, and they're not. It's a reasonable, modest place to be. It's safe. Why leave? And when you come in, and we also don't have a huge development program. We're not like the Norwin area. If you notice on here, the only positive in the entire county was Norwin, since that peak time in 2002, 2003, which we use as a standard throughout the county, and actually probably throughout the state. So to put it in a nutshell, that's where we are. And
it's not like they've had any. They've only grown 72 kids. So it's not like in 10 years they got 72 more kids, or 13 years.
Right.
So it's not like they've done anything.
But they maintain.
They pretty much maintain.
They maintain,
I
but
mean,
they
that
have a
kind of-
massive, and they've done it with a massive development plan over there. I grew up in that area, I know. All the places we used to play are housing developments. But in a housing development, there are 5 kids in the family. There's 1 or 2. So it all changes.
And also why we exploded in population tonight was Cortina Marie. We haven't had any Cortina Marie since that time.
Yeah.
And those kids all, they've grown and they're gone, they graduated, and now there's no other projects that come in. Jay's right about Norwin though, the projects, the Kerber Dairy area is just,
Oh, true.
it's exploded.
That's the layman's interpretation, so that's about the best I can do.
Just
That's-
curious on your opinion.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Trey. Career Tech, Mr.
Thank you,
Petrucci.
Mr. President. Our meeting was May 20th. I wrote on top of my first note here for the board, there was no good report because culinary class is closed now, so that, we had to have the sandwich rings, and but it wasn't near as tasty as what the kids do. June 8th, which is next Monday, we're going to complete the project, the Hope, which is, we got to be switched over because we're rolling over for the Fire Watch. The Fire Watch takes 2 weeks to complete. The newsstand fire chief is going to be very assistant, offer all of his assistance so we can get this all complete. So by the beginning of the school year, next end of August, things will go real smooth. Our student performance this year in our state skills, we finished in the top 89%. All our kids did well. And the state skills of that 89%, 60% were in the advanced category, which is the most we ever had. And for the first time in that grad category, some of our students received college credits for the course they took. And our next meeting is June 17th. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Recreation Boards, Penn Township, Mr. Kachasik.
Yes, Mr. President, if we have time available next week, Scott or I will give it then. If not, no report then.
Thank you, Mr. Kachasik. Trafford Borough, Mr. Petrucci.
Okay, we met on May 18th because we usually meet the last Monday of the month, but this May was Memorial Day, so we moved it up 1 week. The Fairmont Playground, we have to redo the application because our engineering fees they sent 3 engineers for some reason that some of them did not do the playgrounds appraisals before, or the estimates before, and it was too high for the state. We're supposed to be like 5%, and we was over 15%, and so we were disqualified. So now we're working with Morris Knowles and try to get that to come down so we get more favorable. Get the application for Fairmont Playground by the end of this month, and hope it's satisfied that we can get this Fairmont Playground done. Fishing derbies this Saturday, starts at 9 o'clock, 9 to 1 o'clock, and after that the adults can fish. Yeah, I met the new borough manager. His name is Rich Sahar. He came from Mount Lebanon. The summer program begins on June 8th and stops at July 31st. The Woodlawn Pavilion, the new roof was replaced and needs painted now, but the kids not going to do work when the weather is not favorable without having their projects get done. So our next meeting is going to be June 29th. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Penn Borough, Dr. Trey.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Trey. Pete Tark, Mr. Petrucci.
Okay. All right. We just met 4 o'clock this afternoon, and Dr. if I miss anything, please feel glad to pitch in. Okay, our most important thing, of course, our fund balance, which is $79,520. This time last year was $90,000, but there's two groups haven't paid their dues yet so far. The school district is one, and Trafford Borough is the other. And once they pay, we'll be further into the black. The winter summer program was 1,575 kids. No, I'm sorry, 1,411 kids. We met our KLU summer intern. His name's Eric Klontz, and his mother was on the PTARC board. Joy's son, he was on the PTARC board before. The dual-a-thon is this, used to be a triathlon, and the dual-a-thon is this year because there's no swimming involved with it, because of our pools being so wrapped up with renovations. Then it's playground inspection on all the playgrounds in the school district property. Dennis Garris went around with his toolkit with Linda Byers, and every time she knows something, a broken link in a swing or some handles broken off the seesaws, he replaced them right there on the spot. So everything passed. All our stuff is qualified now for next school year for our playground activities for our kids' elementary program.
I said at the meeting, I thought that was very smart.
Very.
To do the inspection and fix
Yeah,
all at the exact same time.
Yeah,
So
she
there's
sat
no
there and she
going
watched
back.
them and he did them and
And then he passed inspection, so there was no,
Yeah.
we took care of everything we needed to fix in our playgrounds, made sure they were safe, and
Yeah.
I like that. I just
June
thought that-
2nd and 3rd, which is tomorrow and Wednesday, there'll be training for our playground supervisors. Chrissy Alias was there. She's head of the Lower Green Boy Scouts. She brought 3 Boy Scouts to attend a public meeting. They had to get for their badge requirements because they were trying to get their Eagle Scout projects. And now that one question was brought up too is that the clearances. Now, if you get clearance, it's good for 36 months. But then Mr. Dapia mentioned from Manor. How about because they have all new people coming in for their summer program in their playgrounds, and how do they know if you get 36 months, of course, which you know is 3 years, after you're cleared 1 year, how about if you get in a situation and you still say you're cleared, they want to know how come we can't have something more efficient, a year-to-year report of somebody who does get a 3-year clearance. And we never did get an answer, did we, Matt? I didn't think there's no smooth answer on that. I think there should be some kind of law saying 36 months is too long, especially if you get in a predicament, then you should be disqualified from working with any young kids. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Dr. Harris, PTCEF.
Sure, the last meeting was on May 13th. We have some new members. They were Dawn Andrews, Melissa McGee, and Susan Bujakowski. And one of the next events we're going to be working on is sponsoring Battle of the Books. So we're anxious to see how that goes and other fundraisers that might happen. And that's all I have to report. And retirees, please feel free to go, because I said I
Thank you.
enjoy.
Enjoy every second.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Prior to tonight's meeting, we held an executive session where we discussed personnel matters, legal matters, and we received information with regards to buildings and grounds. Okay, back to information, Dr. Harris.
All right, I had a couple things before. If you notice, you each received a copy of training and conditioning. Now, I hope I didn't jump ahead in case you get one at home in the mail, but I wanted to make sure that you got one too for me. If you look at the cover, it is our own Mr. Larry Cooper. He's on the front page, and it's for the Most Valuable Athletic Trainer Award, winner of 2015. Larry does a lot of things in the district to promote our school district and promote safety and promote our kids for sports and athletics. He's published a great deal, and this is just icing on the cake. So, very proud of him, and I hope you get a chance to read the article. And I was also following up on you. I got information. Just to let you know this, as we told you last month when we had a moment of silence for Sally Bradley, there will be a memorial service at the Denmark Manor Church Saturday, August 15th at 2 o'clock. So I hope to see you all there, and I'll send you out an email for that too as well. I wanted to make sure you had that information. I'm going to introduce our student union rep, Trent Sims.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. First, I think they've all left, but I'd like to extend the retirees congratulations on behalf of the student union. They're the reason why I'm here. I know I had Mrs. Andrews and Mr. Abraham. I love them both dearly. And I interacted with most of the other teachers there. They're so great. There are continuing CAP projects over the summer. I didn't get to contact Nurse Mahovic before I came here, but I know we're still doing good work in the community, even though we're not in school. Before school did end, the student union selected homecoming themes, and we also got started on our committees. So we'll be working over the summer because homecoming is a bit early this year to be ready for the parade and everything. Kennywood was a huge success. It was really fun. I don't think there were any incidents, which is good, but it was fun. The weather was good. It was really, really hot. I think it was 87 degrees. I think it was the hottest that I found it to be. And then it rained a little bit, but that didn't slow us down because it was nice at the very end. Everything was good. Thank you.
We did have a slight disappointment because there were a large number of rides that were closed that day.
Yeah, but some of them opened up. Like I know the Phantom opened up later, and a lot of the older kids got to ride the Phantom at night, which was fun. So
See, the kids always have a better way of looking at things than the adults who come around. Because all I heard was about the rides being closed, and from you guys, I hear the rides are being open. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Good summer.
Thank you.
All right. In addition, I also, last week, we had one of our longtime retired staff members, Terry Parrish, who passed away. And he was known for just being a real great teacher, and he also had a lot of personality, and they said the teachers all loved him and respected him. And I believe his funeral was on last Thursday. Scott, can you give out any more information on Terry?
Yeah, Terry was at Penn Middle School. That was my wife for a number of years. She thoroughly enjoyed him, and he always had the pulse of what was going on in this community and the school. I knew him from a long time ago. I used to date his niece back in high school, so I was going way yeah, he was a good guy. Like I said, he would do anything for you. He was just a very kind and generous man, and he'll be missed. He'll be missed.
A lot of our staff members served as pallbearers, and they went over to the funeral services too, which I appreciate. And he's been gone for 10 years. That shows how his character and legend lived on. I appreciate that. And finally, Scott, if you can introduce Ms. Sarah.
Yeah, we now have, we'll do our construction update. I have Catherine Stock from Macero and Kurt Thomas from Axis Architecture. I'll just give a brief overview, and then I'll let you talk about the change orders, okay? You know, the project is going very smooth right now. We're always bumps in the road, but we seem to get through them. We work them out and find ways to fix things and get through it. But as soon as the kids left last week, this place pretty much blew up. The second floor is totally demolished, and it's torn apart, and it's just a war zone upstairs, and much of downstairs is like that as well. In fact, we have to make a conscious effort of keeping kids out of this building throughout the summer. Kids always tend to visit and walk through the halls, but we have to block a lot of it off because it's a construction zone, so we have to make sure everybody's safe. So. But moving right along, a lot of work will be done this summer, and we should have the vast majority of it done when the kids come back in mid-August. So we look forward to that. If you've been outside, you can see the progress that's been made on the annex. You can see the trusses have gone up. So we should be under roof here in a few weeks, month or so. I'm not sure exactly when, but the roof is in progress. The walls are up. You can start seeing where the fitness center is, where the gym is going to be, and so on and so forth. So it's starting to take shape. You can see that the brick has been laid out in the new preschool area where the playground will be. So that circle that you see as you come up to the building, that is a playground. And there's going to be wrought iron in between the pillars to keep the kids inside. So that's about it in terms of the update. You saw the ticket booth out front. Everybody asked me what that little building was when you came up to the ramp. I said it's the new athletic office, but I don't think it's but it's a new ticket booth. So, Catherine, if you can go over the change orders. I briefed the board about the change orders in executive session, so if you can just go over them briefly, appreciate it.
Sounds good. First off, we found some of the existing light poles out in the parking lots were damaged previously. Some have dents in them, some are actually cracked. So we're proposing to replace the light poles. We actually have an initial quote of $8,000, but we believe it's going to be cut way down from that. That's just a not to exceed cost. We are deleting we were originally planned on getting 3 flag poles. We're actually going to delete 2 of those and just keep 1 new flag pole. So we have a credit for one of the lights that was going to illuminate it and 2 flag poles. We are crediting some of the studio lights. Those are the high studio LED lights, studio quality. We found that in speaking with, who was that, the media director?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, all right, thank you. I think this is great. No, a lot of talk went back and forth, and we were able to delete some of the lights, and it was a $16,000 credit. So that
Steve fessed up when he saw it. He said, "You know what? This
wait
is
a second,
but I don't quite need all this."
And that some
brought to attention. I prefer you did.
Yeah, good job. I appreciate. I know that was great because that helps with some of the ads. So we got to find more, huh? And then The life skills room, we were able to delete some of the casework and the apartment, I don't know what you call that, Scott. It was like an apartment kitchenette.
Yeah, we believe design that as a kitchenette.
Kitchenette, and instead we're using that money to put in a bathroom down in special ed.
The new life skills
Life
downstairs.
life skills downstairs, so. What that entailed is we had an additional plumbing cost to, of course, because it's on the first floor, we have to trench and concrete to put in the underground for the plumbing, some grab bars for the bathroom, and a little bit of HVAC work to put in an exhaust fan for that. But the rest of that work between the life skills upstairs and downstairs was a wash, so we saved a lot of money there. Something we brought up last month, I think, was the existing structural wall. I think that's the back of the wrestling room, which is the hall corridor to the annex. We found some rusted studs, so we have to do some demo work and some new work in order for the roof trusses to connect. That was $20,000.
We're hoping the damage is not as bad
Yeah.
as we think, and hopefully
Once
it's
we-
less than 20,000.
We're hoping that once we open up the wall, some of the studs won't be as rusted as the main ones that we initially saw. So we'll have an item by item deletion if possible for anything that doesn't need repaired. And there is a stormwater system down by the ball field, and due to an unforeseen gas pipeline, it has to be relocated. So the additional work to scoot this stormwater system towards inboard of in the outfield of the baseball field, we have to get roadway in, some additional piping, and additional seating, and that will be $21,000. And that's all I have today.
And our contingency is at $732,000.
Yes, with all these change orders I just mentioned. So in good shape. And thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have, Mr. Neiman. And I don't think we have any recognition of it. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Dr. No, we do not have any recognition, no visitors that signed up to speak tonight. Athletics extracurricular,
I got it.
Dr. Carr, or Mr. Tracy?
Move to accept the following resignation, Rick Neese, girls' head soccer coach.
Second.
Second by Mr. Noel.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried.
Move to employ the following personnel, new employees contingent upon the receipt of all necessary documentation and Acceptance Act 34, 151, 114 waivers from Commonwealth, Pennsylvania within 30 days. Jackie Fawcett, girls' head soccer coach. Jen Harburger, Drama Guild co-sponsor spring. Amy Kelly, Drama Guild co-sponsor spring. Tony Manacia, varsity assistant football coach. Rick Neese, boys' head soccer coach. Deborah Reagan, varsity girls' assistant volleyball coach. James Rocco, boys' head basketball coach.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Newell.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Trucy. Dr.
All
Harris.
right, next week, under Budget and Finance, we're going to actually adopt 2015-16 school district budget, grant permission to advertise for items requiring competitive bidding in 2015-16, authorization to pay end-of-the-year invoices and make end-of-the-year budgetary transfers, name bank depositories for 2015 and 16, approve payments for credits earned, assign fund balance, approve expenditures related to the high school renovation project according to the schedule, approve proposal for engineering sanitary fees. Under Buildings, Ground, and Safety, to employ personnel, and to approve the addition of a scoreboard to the on traffic fields at no cost to the district. Under Employee Relations, Negotiations, Transportations, we're looking to, have we approved it?
No, we're, we're not going to approve it next week,
Okay.
right?
Nope. All right.
Dr. Harris.
The Act 93.
I think we are going to try to.
Okay, well, we'll put it on the agenda.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna have it on the agenda. We still are looking over a few items of concern, and we will maybe on the agenda for next week.
Could you let us know next week those scoreboards are going to be electronic or not, or manual?
I will have
Just
to
let us
find
know.
out. Under food service, we will not have anything to report. Under personnel and curriculum, we're going to ask you to approve additional substitute teachers and support personnel for the month of June. Approve tentative assignments for 2015-16. Employee school physicians and dentists for 2015-16. Accept and follow official ratings for 2014-15. Extend supplemental contracts. Authorize administration to post, advertise, and interview candidates for any vacancy that occurs prior to the August meeting. Accept retirement resignation, and there's 2 line actions, and that goes to Mr. Petrucci.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the termination of Robert Divins effective immediately.
Second.
Second by Mr. Newell.
Question?
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried.
Move to approve a conference request for Jeff Newsom to receive training in a new printer for the naming rights of ceramic tile engraving. The training is in Golden, Colorado, from June 7th to 9th, at the cost of approximately $1,300 to the district.
Second.
Second by Dr. Trey.
Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried.
Under policy,
That's all I have, Mr. President. Sorry.
Under policy, public relations, legislative, Title II. Accept and follow informational committee meeting minutes on May 4th, 2015. Continue roll call procedures for 2015-16. Continue bond coverage for board secretary and assistant board secretary. Approve attendance at the 2015-16 conventions. Authorizations to submit federal programs application. Approve participation in Drug-Free Schools and Communities Act. Adopt attachment A of IDEA-B program narrative. Tentative approval policy 709.1 and administrative regulations 709.1 AR0. Entry onto school property and into school buildings. Final approval of revised policy 701.1, which is dealing with the facilities naming. Under taxes, insurance, census, award all sports insurance. Award student accident insurance. Adopt a homestead and farmstead exclusion resolution. Adopt tax resolutions. Set the millage rate for 2015-16. And approve a $5 per capita tax.
All right, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned, 8:06.
Mr. Lego, can I talk to you briefly after me?
Sure.